Hey, Funneldoc here. In today's video, we're going to be going over workflows. I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about the new AI tool they have, how you should set up workflows, the difference between triggers and actions. And by the time you get done with this, you'll be an expert in workflow and know everything that you need to know. But before we jump into today's video, I ask that you please like and subscribe. Over 80% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, and I want to hit 10,000 people by the end of the year. So please like and subscribe. Appreciate that. And with it, let's jump inside today's video. So to access your workflows, you're going to go down to automations here on the left side menu, and then your workflows will pop up. You'll see here that you've got at the top, you've got AI content, you've got global workflow settings. We're going to jump into those real quick and go over the settings first of all, like I always like to do. Now, at the very top, they have set up, and this is going to be off for most of you, email notification. This is going to notify someone on your team. Now, they have to be listed here under my staff for them to show up, but it's going to actually send them an email notification if there's any errors or anything that goes on. So that is something I highly recommend. Who's ever in charge of your workflows, have it turned on. I got one this morning that said another work for one of my clients, something happened to it. It was something simple to fix, but we wouldn't have known about it, or a lot of things could have possibly happened. It could have been a waste if that's not on. And this is one of the only ways, unless you figure out a way to set up a workflow to notify you, to know if any of your workflows are having errors or problems like that. The next thing, something they just added is great. It's called pause workflow. Exactly what it says right here. When do you want to pause this? Now you can set this for annually, and you'll set your dates here. So say Christmas is coming up, and say this year if you wanted, say, like the 3 days around Christmas, the week here, you've got the 24th, maybe this, Sunday to, you wanted to go that whole week, so that we came to right here, so that week, and then you confirm. And you can pick however many of these you want. You can pick as many different workflows. You can add them. You just hit the arrow to minus them. And if you want to duplicate this, you can just see here. And you're like, well, why would I want to duplicate this? Because here's the deal. A lot of times you're going to go through here and you're going to pick out multiple workflows, but you're not, the only thing that's really good you're going to want to do to change is the actual date. So now I come in, all the workflows that I wanted are picked, and all I do now is, oh, I wanted this to be for next year for whatever to whatever, so I change it. So this is one way for speed of setting up different times deposit. And then if you want it to repeat annually so that it won't be necessarily, it will start and stop, and then, but every year it'll have it, like I said, like a Christmas one or something, you just check this little box right here for annually, make sure you hit save. Delete that for right now. And then at the bottom here, something people really need to pay attention to. You can actually, and then you as a SaaS provider or whomever, if you're using the program itself, you'll see that for $14.99 a month, you can get 10,000 free premium actions. We'll talk about premium actions when we get into the workflow builder, but that's just something to keep in mind. I believe the premium actions are like a penny or 2 pennies an action. I'll have to double check. Again, that will vary depending on where you're getting your HighLevel, if you're buying directly for them or if you're going through a reseller who's white labeling it. So, and if you want to upgrade it, you just click here, of course. So that is all the settings for the workflow. So this content AI actually is all your different AI stuff. We'll talk about that later when we get into AI stuff. Today, we're really going to talk about workflows mainly. One of the great things they've had, well, let's start over here at the very left, actually. So you've got all your workflow here. If you want to have different filters, you can create different filters now, which is amazing. So you can go by different status, if they have different tags in them, types, etc. Play with that all day. It's pretty cool. I highly recommend coming in and looking at these and just checking out, because there's a lot of layering into setting that up that you can get very granular with that. The other thing you'll see here is needs review, as well as any of your deleted. You can now go in and you just hit restore, and it'll restore that. People have accidentally deleted workflows before. Now this is where you'll be saved. Next thing would be Smart List. This is going to allow you, just like anywhere else, to be able to filter through your entire workflows. And so if I had a certain workflow that I wanted to be able that had a certain tag in it, certain action type, maybe these are, I wanted to have every one that sent an email or whatever. So now it's specific to those. I can create filters now and smart lists for it so that I can filter down to those specific workflows. It just mainly a lot of people won't use this, but when you start getting into hundreds of workflows, thousands of workflows, this stuff is a gift from God. You know what I mean? And the other thing, of course, is folders. So you can go folder and folder in here, which really allows you to set up and position your workflows. Where before, just you guys are probably some of you are laughing, like, "What are you talking about, Jeff?" Well, it used to be just, probably 4 months ago that they didn't even have folders in workflows, and now they've got folders and folders. So it's just great for organization. And then you've got the ability here for your smart list to be able to customize your list here. And then, of course, you got your entire list, the name, status, people that are enrolled. So if there's anything active, you see here's 5 people have enrolled in that. And then these are the active. You'll see down on the actual workflows themselves, they're published or in draft mode. And then this is a new feature here, this drop down arrow. If you click that, you can see how many were delivered. You see there's email and SMS. Let's click down to this one. We'll see right here. So this one did send SMS. So you can see right here, it delivered all the SMSs on that. But anyway, so those are just new stats that help you to look at a glance. You can see how well the different flows are doing for the things that are being delivered. You come over the little 3 dots here. It's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Delete workflow. Copy to sub accounts, really great, because if you have a workflow you want to use in another sub account, you just click right here, pick the name of the sub account. You like I said, you pick the sub account, and it will upload the entire workflow right to it. So it just helps it. I know I've built workflows out in one sub account, and I'm like, man, I wish I had this other. And now you're able to do that. So you can duplicate workflow. The difference between the copy to sub account and duplicate workflow keeps it at this level. So just make another copy for this particular sub account itself. You've got move to folder. You can draft the workflow. So you see how these are published. If I click here, go to draft. You can open the workflow in a new tab, rename the workflow, or edit the workflow, which will open the workflow itself in this tab. The next thing we'll be looking at is creating the workflow itself. You'll come right here to the create workflow button. Now, I almost always start from scratch. I have my own recipes that I have on a main account that I always upload into new accounts, that type of thing. But don't neglect the select a recipe right here. There's some really good base ideas, especially when you're new to workflows. I highly recommend you going through these, looking to see if any will fit into your system or your different high levels, white label, or whatever you're doing, you're trying to create. So first of all, you can start from scratch, of course, the templates. You can import from a campaign, but these are great ones. Like right here, it shows you how to create a nurture series using ChatGPT history. So if nothing else, I would just create this workflow, check it out, see how they look at it, see how they've set it up, see how it works, and then you can figure out how to be able to use that in your current business now. That's one of the great things about this is a few tweaks here and there, and it's perfect for what you're doing already. The next thing is like a recipe here for Shopify GPT history. Now, mind you, if you're not doing Shopify, don't waste your time doing this. You got WhatsApp, you've got missed call text back for WhatsApp. A lot of high level is really going deep into WhatsApp right now. A lot of us in the US are spoiled because we don't realize that once we leave the US, everybody uses WhatsApp. I mean, WhatsApp is the thing. So for people that are going, why are they going to WhatsApp so much? It's because everybody but the US literally uses WhatsApp. So you might want to keep that into consideration. If you're just going US based, it's not a big deal. But if you're thinking about ever going abroad, maybe Mexico or other countries, Canada or Europe or anywhere like that. Of course, Europe is a country, but but you know what I mean. So you will come in and here's WhatsApp. Again, here's another one, send product recommendations. Again, that's another Shopify. You've got recipe comment automation for Instagram, so Instagram, if you wanted to have it so it'd comment on your actual post, Here's a starter. And again, a lot of these are just that. It's a good starter. Facebook comment workflow with AI, comment automation, IVR, which that IVR, for those who don't know, that is the one that's like you get on the phone and the lady on the phone's like, press 1 for services, press 2 for support, press 3. That's IVR. So you can set that up for your whole phone system here. Your email drip sequence. We've got long-term reactivation, fast 5. This is a nurturing new leads by automating emails, calls, connect, everything like that. FAQ auto reply, webinar registration. And like I said, a lot of these, they might not fit what your needs are directly, but if you're new to this and you haven't created your own templates, which what I would recommend you do, every time you create something that you like the way it's laid out for you, stop, duplicate it, make it a master, put it in a master template folder. Then you don't ever have to waste time doing it again, because once you've got that base, you can always add or subtract stuff. That's easy. But the time you spend, even if it's 30 minutes, think about if you make it 5 times 30 is 2.5 hours right there. Boom. Anyway, so here's other recipes. Send review requests. For some of you might not even know that some of the capabilities that HighLevel has. That's so funny. I talk to people all the time, especially when we're doing white label projects for people, building out their white label SaaS for them to resell. They don't even know half the stuff HighLevel can do, which I don't blame them. I mean, HighLevel for a while was putting out 3 to 5 updates a day. It was hard for me, even being an expert, to keep up with it. Or Google My Business Message, Facebook Messenger, Missed Call Text Back. That's a great one. No Show Nurture series. Birthday templates. And here's another one too, birthday. A lot of people are like, well, why would I, I'll send them, hey, happy birthday. No, you got to think about if you're marketing, if you have a marketing system, this is a great chance for you to get them to buy something from you. Send them a birthday discount code. You know what I mean? Something like that, or a birthday special, or a one-time offer just for their birthday. And think about it, how cool that is. Maybe, I don't know, 50% off or something crazy for their birthday. This is a chance for you to say thank you as their birthday to them, and offer them something, maybe even something for you free, even maybe it's a sample of your program or whatever it is. But use it as both a way to celebrate their birthday, but also as a way to market to them ethically. And the next one, you've got your appointment reminder confirmation and your list reactivation. So those are all the recipes. Highly recommend you go through, take time. I would build each one. Even the Shopify ones that really you may or may not use, just so you can see how they're built out, what the trigger is, that different type of stuff. Now, with that being said, we're going to jump deep dive into workflows. So come on in. Let's go right here. We're going to start from scratch. So you're going to see right here, allow multiple opportunities enabled by default. Before, it used to not be that way, but a lot of people were just constantly turning it on. So they decided to set it up so that it's on now, always. Move my picture so I'm out of the way. So let's go over some stuff. We're going to first lay the foundation of everything you need to know about the workflow canvas here. It's very important. We're going to start at the top in the middle. This, of course, is the name of the workflow. It can be whatever. It really is only an identifier to you. No one else will ever see this but you, your team, or anyone that's looking at the workflow at the sub-account level. So inside that, next, you've got your settings. Now, down here, allow re-entry. This used to be off all the time. It's on automatically now. And that just allows someone to go through it repeatedly. Like, so if it's an opt-in or registering for appointment or whatever it is, most of the time you're going to want them to go through it repeatedly. But if you don't, click it off, and they'll only be able to go through it once. Even though they can sign up again or whatever, they won't go through the workflow again. So that's just something to keep in mind depending on how you're setting your business. Again, here's the multiple opportunity one they were talking about. So if it doesn't make sense for your business, this is how you can turn it off. So stop on response. Again, if you're getting into more advanced workflows, you're going to need this to turn off, because there's sometimes you're going to want your team to jump in there, maybe start talking to them. And the last thing you want is to be having some type of communication going on between your team and the potential client or whomever it is. And all of a sudden the AI chatbot comes in, or one of the workflows kicks in and sends an email, and it can just ruin the experience overall. So that's one to keep on right here if you want to have it stop on response. A lot of times, I only turn this on for more complicated workflows. Next thing, you got the time zone. Now, if you do not set this, it will fire off according to whatever time zone, or you've set it. Like if it says 12 p.m., it will go off 12 p.m. for them. It's client specific. Whoever's going through it, it's going to match their workflow to or their time zone to whatever it is. But if you wanted to be specific to their one time zone, so it doesn't pin. So if they pick 3, it could be 3 EST or 3 PST. You can set the time zone here and it will be locked into one specific time zone. I really don't ever mess with this. The calendars and stuff are all automated. They adjust the time accordingly. Very rarely you're going to need this. The next thing, specific time. Now, when you turn this on, you're going to see you've got a start time and an end time. And a lot of people would set this and they'll be like, well, I don't want my workflows to go off on the weekend. So I'm going to set, Sunday through Saturday, I don't want them to go off. And we'll just pretend like this is set up perfectly. The thing to keep in mind is when you do this, it stops the entire workflow, completely stops it. So if you're expecting it to count and all of a sudden out of nowhere Friday hits and you're expecting the workflow to keep going and you don't realize it's Friday, it's going to skip or miss 2 days and then start the next email or the next whatever on the next day. So it can just mess up your timing. Like if you're specifically trying to have emails go out on specific dates and you don't realize that that date is a Friday, it can mess you up. So that's just something to keep in mind if you ever decide to use this. It's way more, advanced settings for marketing and stuff, but something you always need to be aware of. The other cool thing here is if you're the sender details, if you're doing a long email series or SMS or whatever it is, you don't need to put it in there each time. You just need to put it in here one time. So if you want to set yours, so it could be the funnel doc, and the from email could be support at funneldoc. We could go funneldoc.com. And now that's in there. And as soon as I save it, it will now update that in every email or SM. Well, this is just email, obviously, but every email in there would have this from sender and from email in it. So it just saves you time. So you don't have to, in every email, put it in there, put it here once, hit save. Every one of them is going to be done that way. And then right here, you've got your from numbers. Same thing. If you want to, make that numbers the same for every SMS so you don't have to set it or anything like that, you can. Last and final thing we're going to go over is mark as read. So if you're doing out email blast and people are going to potentially see it or whatever, you can make it so it'll say mark as read and go to the red column inside of the conversations tab versus if not, everything will show up there as unread. So just something to think about. Usually, again, unless I'm doing massive campaigns, most of the setting stuff you really won't use too much, but it's always good to know all about it. The next one we've got is your enrollment history. Now, if you go to enrollment history, you'll see, like, here's an example I went through here just so I could show you. You'll first of all, you've got your date. Now that's only good for 30 days. So keep that in mind that it only tracks back for 30 days. And then beside, you've got all your different events that you can use as a filter, as well as you can select it by contact right here. Now we're going to use me as an example. You say, here's my email. Here it is when I enrolled. Here is the current action I'm at right now. You'll see that I finished the whole thing. Next execution, there is none. And then now the next two are really good keys that a lot of people don't know about or even how to use. Now, first of all, this one has been around for a while, the execution history, but this one's new. So first of all, let's go to the execution history so you can see. Now, here's what you can see. This is pretty cool. You can click right here. We'll do this in a second to see this person's path. But you can see these are all the steps. Here, you go to the very last one. And you'll see here, you can see everything that's happened at it. And what I like too is, for instance, they've got this notification. You go right here to view details, the first thing, and you'll see email successfully sent. Or if you're doing like a math function, it will show you the function in there and what the end result is. So the view details is really important with this. The next one here, you've got your view execution history. You've got the ability to view the contact history, and then you have the ability to go to that exact action. So for a reason I was having trouble with this, I can click here and it'll take me to the action in the workflow. But we're going to look at something next, this contact path. Now, mind you, this is a straight path, so it doesn't matter as much. But a lot of times in paths, you're going to have multiple branches. It's going to be shooting this way and that way. And it used to be you couldn't really tell like what direction or how they went through the path. But now if you click that, and remember it's the same thing the other one, you can actually see how the path was. So even now you can see it's just a straight line, but if it veered off, it'd go to one or another. So as you can see in this example right here, we have a workflow being sent there to see if they paid their invoice. It comes down here, and now you can see how it went down here, and you can see they're now at the wait step, and it stopped right there. So I just think that's a really a cool new feature that they added in, and that is pretty much all the top stuff that you need to know. So again, when you're in workflow, you've got your ability here to see your last update and when your current version is on that. You can come here, you've got your save button, you've got your ability to draft and publish it. If ever workflow is not working for some reason, you might have forgotten to publish it. So just remember to always flip this switch. You'll hit save, and then the workflow will be live. Next to it is your test workflow button. What you do is you come in, you can just type in like somebody in there, and then you can put them in. And now what it does is this will run a test from the person just as they got dropped in for whatever reason. They'll go through it like they normally would. I always test my workflows and advise you do the same. Now, over to the side here, before we get into the actual workflow builder itself, I wanted to touch on the last few things that they've added recently, which are awesome. Now, you've got the ability to view for stats, and that will make more sense later. But say for your emails, it doesn't natively show the stats so that you can edit it. But once it's solid and you're ready to go, you can hit that button, and then you'll be able to just look at the workflow and see where people are going, what percentages are going where, and opening, and all that type of stuff. The next thing are your notes, which is pretty cool. This now allows you to leave notes in the workflow that you weren't able before. So someone come here, they can check the different notes. They can say, you can see there's action notes. There's up to 5,000 characters can be left here. And that's really for people that are working on multiple team members, or maybe you're selling a workflow and you want people to know what's going on for that particular workflow or that spot, as well as the next one's even better. They have sticky notes. So now you can come in and be like, oh, I want to I want this little sticky note. And now you got a sticky note, and you can put it right there. And you can see here, you can edit it. And you've got your font menu and that. You can add images. You can even discuss. You can even have a list in here. I mean, you can. It's pretty cool, and it looks like you got up to 5,000 characters you can do per sticky contact. And the reason why they're sticky is because you can always grab them and drag them along, and then you can delete them like so. You can also hide the notes or show the notes so that if there's notes all over the page and all of a sudden you don't like, I don't need them, you just hit hide, hides all the notes for you. Something to keep in mind. The next thing we're going to be looking at, you've got your ability to shrink or enlarge the menu, of course. So if you want to shrink it or enlarge it. And then the last thing is the new AI feature that they added, Workflow AI. So this new workflow AI is pretty cool. I was checking it out. Now, if you'll see at the bottom here, as soon as you open it, it's going to do an analyze. It's going to analyze your workflow, which costs you an action right off the bat. So right there, you can see as soon as you open it, it's hi user, I'm Workflow AI, and I'm going to help you analyzing your workflow. So just know, if you want its help analyzing it, you're going to lose the thing in the beginning. So you might want to build out your workflow ahead of time. But if you want, that's the cool thing about this. You can type anything into it. I haven't gotten crazy detailed, but if you've just got any workflow that you're having trouble with, which is amazing for you guys, but it sucks for our agency because now you guys are going to be able to figure this out with us as much. No, I'm joking. We'll still always have a job because we're the best, but you get 30 of these for free. And if you want more, if you get the AI employee, the unlimited AI package, you can get more of these. But you get 30 for free, opens it up, and you just come in and tell it, like I just put whatever. I was like, how can I create a workflow to let someone know that they're a valued customer once they purchased a product and I want to review, I'm just trying to think of something that's if I want a review. So something simple like that, nothing too crazy, but you could probably go pretty crazy on this. I did one the other day that's pretty cool. So you just hit, the AI feature, enter, and it's thinking. And we used one. So first of all, it tells you the triggers and then the actions. It tells you everything you want to do. Now, before we read this, I want to explain triggers and actions to you. Triggers are just that. What is triggering the actual workflow to start? You don't have to have a trigger. A lot of times I create workflows because later I'm going to drop them in this workflow or add them to the workflow from somewhere else or something that's going to trigger it. If not, then you need a trigger. You've got one way or another for workflows to work. You either have to drop somebody or add somebody to that workflow. You drop them in there. Think about it as like a series of events that you're now triggering and starting to go off. So the first thing is, like I said, you can drop somebody in or you can select your triggers. And triggers are different than actions. Once you select a trigger, you select right here, you'll see all the different triggers you have. Now, mind you, any of the ones with the crowns next to them cost extra. That varies depending. These are considered premium workflows. Earlier in the video, I mentioned the 10,000 workflows for 10,000 option actions for like $14 or $15. That's what these apply to. Where you're like, well, how would I use 10,000? Well, if you're using a lot of these and you've got a whole business running off of it, it can happen. Trust me, a lot more than that. But they're broken up into different areas. If you wanted to look at the different potential apps, they just recently added this. You hit discover here, and then you can see all different type of things. Like one of the ones is closebot is a great one. I think that one's probably just an action. Yeah, it's just an action. But you can come in and check out, like you got Stripe for workflows, WooCommerce, all different types of stuff. Check those out. Again, I would be careful with some of these. Some of these are very well reputable, and some I don't think there's any scams in here, but they might not work as well. And some are paid and some are free. You can see top free, you've got your different lists. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. It's always good, better safe than sorry with this type of stuff. Do some research before you sign up for too much stuff. And as I sign up for more and more of them, I'll let you know. I've signed up for the closebot one, and that's an action, not a trigger. But anyway, so you've got all your different triggers that are set up by their theme. The triggers are all set up like by their theme here. So this is like contact or whatever they pertain to. So you've got your birthday reminder, like I talked about before, change contact. I'm not even going to read all of them. I mean, they're pretty obvious. This is it. Contact D&D, that's do not disturb. That's not native to the system. You're going to want to probably build that out so that if they check off do not disturb, it'll do that. This would be that trigger. Then you've got if you want the contact like a tag, and that's one way that a lot of times I'll have it that people will fire off workflows. I'll add a tag to someone and that starts a whole workflow. Or I'll have that person, something will happen, it will move them on a pipeline. That's something you can do here. I'll show you in a second. You move them on a pipeline. When they move, then I'll have another workflow trigger. I mean, you can have so much stuff that's interwoven with workflows. It's really up to you. And that's one of the things I love so much about HighLevel. The AI guy to the side here is going to help you out a lot with that, because I used to have to sit around for man, I've sat around for hours and hours and hours testing stuff out, trying to figure out how it's supposed to work and how you can make things that will feed into other things to do this, to pull information, because there's so much you can do. So then you've got your date reminder, you've got a note was added, you've got a note was changed, a task was added. If any of these things, remember, these are all triggers. So somewhere a task could be added for Bob over here or Susan. Now all of a sudden this workflow has email sent, this is, so much stuff. Engagement score, so they get a particular engagement score or whatever it is. Let's see what other triggers we got. We're going to go jump into triggers in a second. And here's all the different events. Events are things that can happen. Inbound webhook, you get a phone call, email event. And the email event is like someone could open an email. That's what I mean. That's how advanced these workflows can be. You can trigger a workflow of actions to go off just if somebody opens and looks at an email, if they click on it. They've got a form was submitted, a survey submitted, a trigger links click. That's one of the ones that I use a lot is people will click a link, and when that link it gets clicked, then it fires another workflow. Facebook lead form, TikTok lead form, you're validating numbers, you've got LinkedIn lead form. You got reviews are submitted. So somebody submits a review. You want now a whole thing going off with an email. Thank you for submitting your review. You want to notify your team. You want blah, 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 blah. Here's all your different stuff regarding your appointments. This is stuff regarding your opportunities. Now, opportunities equal your pipelines. Think of that. Opportunities equal pipelines. So you can either create a status change, you can create an opportunity, you can change an opportunity, you can create a stage, you can move somebody from stage to stage, which is one that I use a lot. So one of my favorite ones or things I use, like for instance, I track all the customer journey from when they joined my program to when they paid, all that different stuff like that. And you can have it to, invoices sent could be one of your triggers. And then when the invoice is sent, it then moves them on the pipeline to invoices sent. And then when they paid it, the next trigger, it moves them to paid. So you can see where everyone is. It's easy to automate. You just have to think in your head, what are the things that are going to be you can almost look at KPI or key performance indicators I want to track. And then I'll use those as stages a lot of times in my pipelines, or something like that. The next one I want you to really pay attention is stale opportunities. A lot of people don't know about this one. It's one of my favorite one because I'll use it for courses and I'll use it for my customer pipelines to make sure that they're always moving through it. But you can track your courses. You can have someone move in a course to a certain area if they in your opportunities make a pipeline, like they're at they went through category 1, 2, 6, whatever it was. Well, what I'll do is if anybody stays, I'll set this for 30 days, maybe. If anybody stays at a certain spot and they haven't moved through the course, it will recognize them as a stale opportunity, and then they'll go through a certain workflow. Again, these are all triggers. Remember, we haven't gotten to the actions yet. So much. Then all your affiliate stuff. So when someone enrolls in a campaign, when the affiliate's created, when a new affiliate sales happen, that's one of the ones I use for my affiliate sales tracking pipeline. Is that affiliate sales, and then I use custom values, which we'll get into in other videos, to be able to add it to the system so that I know how many affiliate sales they have, where they're at, can add them to. It's sort of like gamifying it that way. And then the next thing, you've got to look at all the stuff you can do for courses. When a category is started, and category, thinking of it as an overall the lesson. You might have a category of funnels, and then underneath it, like funnel design, funnel layout, or whatever it is. But you mean categories, the overall arching theme of the lesson, all the lessons that are underneath it. And then you've got lesson started, lesson completed. Somebody signs up, the offer is granted, the product is granted. And the offer's different. Someone could sign up to just get the product itself, and not necessarily get the offer, because the product is, like HighLevel 101 is the product, it's the course, but the offer could be a bundle of stuff. You know what I mean? You could have 3 different courses together. So the product is the course, the offer is what you're making then. And a lot of times it's just the course itself, but sometimes you have multiple products that you're bundling on together to make an offer. So just keep that in mind when you're using that. That's the difference between the two. The product is the course itself. The offer is what you're charging for it. You know what I mean? So that's or it could be a bundle. And then you've got your product started, product complete, new user login, all your payment stuff, everything regarding your invoices, payments received, order form submission, your contracts and your documents. And these guys alone, here's something you need to pay attention to. It says contracts and documents, but knowing how to use the filters, and let's go ahead and jump into that. We'll click on this. Now it just says contract and documents. You can see at the top here, I can still change it. Here's all the different triggers. If I wanted to change it up, I could. And then here is the name of the workflow. Highly recommend that you change the name of the workflow to match whatever you're doing, or the trigger to what matches you're doing, so that you're able to visualize it when you look at it. Well, a lot of people just leave it with a name where it would just say document and contracts, but For what? Is this for a new client? Is this for a re-sign? Is this for just Facebook ads? Is it for a full funnel build out? Is it for coaching? Whatever. Because you're going to have, ideally, in your business, you might have multiple contracts or different documents that need to be signed, and this will be specific. And the way that you make it specific are filters. So you're going to come down here first. I always, when I look at filters, like to click it and then look at your standard fields right here. These are the different values that you're going to be able to pull off of that um, trigger, whatever it is. In this instance, it's document. So what type of receipt is it? And then you can look at it here and go, they have multiple different variables, is empty, is not empty. And these are sometimes good, the empty. So you come in and use this trigger. So if they hit here and their whatever it is, the receipt is not empty, that would trigger it, versus if it was empty, they wouldn't. So you can come in, you can select if they're the business user, the contact. You come in and you can see they have the status, which is it paid, is it sent, is it viewed. This one I use a lot right here, the status for one. Is it completed, is it sent? Because I'll send it, and then what I'll do a lot of times is I'll have it where if they viewed it but they didn't sign or accept it, I'll put them in a loop that every couple of days I'll send them a reminder text or email. Hey, whatever. Just want to remind you to sign your paperwork or whatever. And then once they sign or accept it, then I'll have it so it pulls them out of that reminder workflow so they don't keep getting that reminder. And then it'll start a whole nother sequence. They'll move in the next stage in the pipeline. Again, you want your workflows to allow you to have everything that's automated so that you don't have to do anything, especially if you're doing a white label SaaS. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make, is they don't customize it to their dream customer that's going to be using it. If you're not customizing it and making it the workflow so that they don't have to know tech, because again, just because we're marketers or in a high level, most of the people we're building out white labels for SaaSes or they're using it are not tech people. They're vets, they're plumbers, they're hairstylists, they're churches, they're whatever they are, but they're not tech. So when you're doing this, if you're the tech person, how can you take the tech out of tech for them? Workflows. That is the magic behind all this. So you have to look at their business, figure out what you can automate using these triggers that I'm showing you now. And then in the minute, I'm going to show you the different actions, which is just going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind what's really capable. This is one of the things that I love so much about that. But look, just from this alone in the status, you can see here we could technically have 3 or 4 different workflows. Hey, when I first send it, this is going to be the one that maybe you have a notification that notifies somebody on your team. I mean, that's the thing. You can do anything almost with these workflows. So, and then you're going to want 2 is looking at sub filters. So you're going to come here. If I'm hitting it again, you see it doesn't have a sub filter in this one. Let me select one. Maybe it will let me. Yeah, there we go. I hadn't selected. So next one, you'll come right here and you could do now, maybe it's a template and you could be like, oh, is this template? Because you might have multiple templates. You come in, or the value equals a certain amount. Maybe I only want this to go when a contract's completed from this template for more than $10,000. And if it is, then maybe I'm sending a special workflow or something. Again, it's really up to you, but you have to learn to play with the filters. You got to play with the filters. If you don't, you're going to use workflows to like 10%. Literally, I'm not even joking, 10% of their capability. So triggers, that was it. So we went through, we were in documents down here at the bottom. Highly recommend, again, these last 4: refund, subscription. They just added subscriptions recently, estimates, and documents. Play with those. Learn the filters. They have those 4 triggers right there have an exorbitant amount of impact on your business, especially if you're using documents, estimates, subscriptions, and taking payments, obviously, with refund. The next ones are Shopify. These, obvious, if you're doing Shopify, abandoned cart, order place, order filled. IVR, this is what I talked about before, press 1. And the thing is, this is going to start it. And a lot of these, you see, actions aren't available unless you have specific triggers, especially in the if else or if then and if else action, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So the next one here, these are brand new. Mind you, these are affected by the 24-hour rule. These are if someone comments on a post, you can have it so that it will send them a message in Messenger. And but they do affect the 24-hour rule. So here's Facebook and Instagram, your communities, when you can have it fire when somebody granted access, when access is revoked, etc. You can see here that community group member leaderboard level change. That's brand new. They literally just added this yesterday or the day before. I had not seen that before, and I was just looking at these yesterday. I think that was so since yesterday. Another great one, certificates issued. They recently, in the last like 5 months, added the ability to have certificates. So now, like every time somebody gets a certificate for finishing a program or finishing a course, you can have that. And then, but you'll see down at the bottom here, once you've added a bot or one of those, you can see here is a specific one for Synthflow AI to be able to use their workflow action right here. This is because I added them as one of the web guides right here. So you can see they are installed right here. Then the other apps you would have listed right here. You can see you can see about it. You can see the app details. If I wanted to just say add this one, you can see all the different stuff that's going to add. So if I click this Stripe workflows, create a coupon, uh, email, create charge, retrieve payment information, you can go right here to app details, and then it's going to open up. You've got your different triggers it's going to do, more about the app, and then your install app. Make sure you pay attention on payments. You don't want to get stuck. A lot of these are going to give you X amount of stuff for free. They're going to give you a trial, and then they're going to hit you. And it's not going to be huge. It's going to be pennies or lower like cents. But the thing is, when you're using a workflow, next thing you know, you have 1,000 people go through here, and next thing you know, you got to pay charge several $100s or whatever it is. It's just always something to be aware of. Better safe than sorry. So those are the different things that we're looking at. Now, again, trigger starts the workflow, actions are everything underneath it. So we're going to go here and we're going to look at actions next. Again, you've got them by theme here, all your different contacts, create a contact, find a contact, assign a user. Now, user is someone on your team. So if you wanted to, and I use this one a lot, and sometimes I'll go through and they have a ability to do a randomizer, and I'll randomize the number and assign it to a person, and then they can randomize people on your team. There's all different. You can actually, when you're using the assign user, I believe it has random on there. That's another thing for a lot of these. I'd go through and I just play with them. There's so much that they can do, but you don't know that until you go in and you start looking at their filters and stuff. So edit conversation, D&D's do not disturb. So if somebody doesn't want an email or maybe SMS or whatever specific channel, you can turn that on or off there. Add notes. I recommend using this one a lot. What I do is whatever's happening in that workflow, at the bottom of the workflow, I'll add a summary to it, and you can use your custom values and custom fields. For people who don't know what those are special variables. Custom fields are on the client level. Those client fields affect the client. Custom values are on the system level. Those affect the system. So if I changed one at custom value, it's going to affect different things in, say, a funnel or an email or something related to the system. Where if I change something in a field, it's going to be related to that person. It could be their birthday or where they live or what webinar date they signed up for, but specific to that contact or person. And then you can set these up in here. So they'll go through the workflow, pull the information. Sometimes I'll even then feed the information to AI. Then AI will spit out a summary, and then that summary will update to notes. So now I just go to that person, I click, and I can see a summary of everything they just did. Just a little idea. A task. So maybe you have somebody go through here and now you want to assign a task for someone that they need to look something up or do something. You can assign that there. You can copy it to a different account. Remember, if it's got the crown, you can always see how much it's going to cost. You can go down at the bottom there and learn more and find that out. But these are premium actions. They're going to cost more. Delete contact, modify engagement score, add contact followers. Now, a follower is different than the owner. Owner has full permission. Followers have more limited permissions, and they're more just following the person. Like they're just watching where they are, and they want to be notified a lot of times when certain things are happening. Communications, SMS, you can do Slack, you can do phone. This is another one a lot of people don't realize. This voicemail, you can have it to do what's called a voice drop. So if I come in here and I leave this as an action, I can have it so, somebody triggers this. What it's going to do is it's going to call them It's going to go right to voicemail. It's not going to actually ring their phone, and then it's going to leave whatever it is. So, like, say they signed up for your coaching program, now all of a sudden they get a voicemail and they're like, "What's this?" And it's like, "Hey, this is the Funnel Doc. I just want to say thanks so much for signing up for my program. You're amazing. You're awesome. Here's some things you need to know. Yada yada." And it just allows that cool little like layer of personality or personalization that can be added in there. So voicemails, I recommend you check that out. Again, phone calls, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs. I mean, there's so much you can do with this. You've got manual action for SMS, which is a text message, manual action to call. That means that somebody needs to go and send an SMS or make a phone call. That's what they mean by manual. Google My Business, Central notification. I use this one a lot if I want to notify people that are part of the team underneath the setting my staff. If they're part of the team, you can send a message, you can send an email, you can send them a text message. A lot of times when they're being assigned to someone, I'll use all the custom variables and be like, hey, you were assigned this person, this is their issue, blah, blah, blah. And then that would start a workflow where I could track them and make sure they're getting stuff done in a timely manner or whatever it is. Then you've got send request, conversation AI. Now, whenever we start talking about AI, I'm doing a whole video coming out tomorrow, AI specific, where I'm breaking down, I believe it's 5 or 6 different AI. There's conversation, there's Eliza, there's the new AI booking bot, there's Chat GPT. I believe there's one more. I think there's 5 or 6 total. But tomorrow I'll have a video coming out on all of those, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to break each one down individually. It's going to be a longer one, but it's going to be well worth it if you're curious about anything involving workflows in the actual AI and actions, not the AI builder, this guy over here. We're talking about these guys right here. So there's conversation AI. Here's a new one they've got, Facebook Interactive Messenger. This one's really cool. This allows you now, again, you see right here, it says Facebook, it has to be part of this action. So you have to have a post or a customer reply somewhere in here to be able to use that. And a lot of these are that way. But if they reply in Messenger, you can use this one, and this will allow you to put those buttons that you see, like, oh, click here and do this action. So these are great. But they're brand new. You've got WhatsApp, you got a live chat here, external phone calls, WhatsApp stuff, webhooks. This is a big one. I'll do on some of these that are a little more complicated. I'll do a full series. I'll do a quick video on it, like how to do webhooks. So we'll do that. So keep your eyes open for those. I'll probably do them in like shorts and things like that, as well as maybe videos. But then you've got your different stuff like your custom webhook, Google Sheets. So you can put your Google Sheet in here and have it upload data and pull data off of it. That's amazing. Do you know before you would have to do a Zap or a Make or a Pabbly or something like that to be able to do it? Now, this is when I wanted to take time out. There's a billion of these. I can't talk about them all, but these two right here, if else and wait, are ones that you're going to be using a lot. So I wanted to talk about it. So the if else, so a lot of it depends on what trigger you have. You'll see right here, when I clicked on it, first of all, it's got the condition name. Now I'm going to always change this from name a condition to what is it doing. Maybe, it's checking to see if they're checking to see if they have a phone. That is the whole purpose of this branch or segment. And you can, I think you can have up to 15 branches. I'm not sure the exact, I haven't gone too many. I usually try, note to the person watching this, do not make one workflow as complicated as you can. Break it down into sections, because here's the deal. If something's not working, it's easier to see, oh, it's not working in this section, to have 32 million actions spread out, branches and everything going everywhere. I usually try not to go more than like 3 or 4 branches or layers deep. You know what I mean? Like, it may be long, but it's not going to be breaking off more than 3 or 4 times, because once you start doing that, it just adds for places where things can happen. And the more spots you have now at least you're able to track it, like I showed you earlier. Before you couldn't do that. So if you weren't like a master at workflows like I am, it was really rough to be able to figure it out sometimes. So anyway, here we're checking to see if their phone. So it's build your own. They now have pre-made ones. So if you're doing, and this is cool because if not, I make templates, so I've got it. So I just use the same one, so I don't have to worry about this. But a lot of people wouldn't, so they have to make it over and over. So if you have doing one on availability, like was it did they show or no show? Did they, is it confirmed or not confirmed? If they have certain tags, their last appointment, email events, and you see how these are grayed out because I'm not using those actions. You need to use those actions or triggers above it to be able to make it so these are viable. Trigger links clicked, contact replied, order submitted for a product, but we're going to build our own. And so this one we do for phone. So we'd come in and we check right here, contact details. I love to have this little black blurb that pops up that tells you what's underneath that tab. It used to not have to know it. You just had to know everything, which after a while you start remembering it all. So it's not a big deal. But for new people, it helps out a lot. So you can see all the different stuff. You've got your trigger link or your workflow trigger, which are specific off what triggers trigger this workflow, the workflow contact, events, custom values. You can just look at, you can just go through all these different ones they have and see what they are. But today we're just going to, for this little detail one I'm showing you, you go into contact details. We're going to look for their phone. And then this one is, do they have one or not? So if they have one, yes, this one will change to yes. So phone is, and we're going to say not empty. Now you'll see right here, you can do if their phone number is something specific, or if you want to click here, these are all your custom fields. Again, it's contact specific, custom values, or system specific. So just keep that in mind. So if this is his calendar, it's specific to the contact that's going through at that time, or the first name is that contact that's going through at the time, compared to this custom values specific to the system. So those are going to stay the same. It doesn't matter what contact or person is going through. So we would come here, contact, and we won't put anything. We just leave a blank here. So contact is not empty. So if their phone is not empty, they're going to go through this one. Now, if you can, a lot of times I don't make the next branch because you're going to always have this open branch where it says none that has like where they go if they don't hit any variable. But a lot of times, well, I'm trying to figure out if they have a phone or not. It's really straightforward. I don't put the secondary branch for if they don't, unless I want to branch off that and do type of stuff, I will. I'll usually just leave it as a none branch. So I'll just save it like this. And now you can see where they're at and which branch is this. And this is new too, the way it's labeled, which is great. They used to not do that as much, and it used to be a pain. If you do want to add a branch, you can do it in a couple ways. You can click here to add another blank branch. A lot of times, if it's a similar task or branch, something, maybe it's like how this one is empty, I'd want one that's not, I'll just duplicate it. I'll come right here, duplicate branch. And now I can click right here and go no instead, and then I would change to this to is empty now. So now instead of having to click all, it just saves you clicks, just save you click. And then the next thing, you can either grab them and reorder them by clicking here and moving them like this, or you can reorder them by clicking here and you can move them like this. Now, a lot of people ask, why does the order matter? It goes from left to right. So those are the different things about your different branches that you want to know. And then you just play off of it. And you can have multiple of these, but this is going to be something very important. A lot of times too, you can use these as these are your filters. Think about it. So here, you go way beyond yes. You can have a lot of different stuff. And if you want to segment, you can come right here and you can make this and or. If it's and, it has to hit both those requirements. It's got to have not have any emails empty and then whatever this would set this is. But if I set it for and, it could be either one. And if you want to delete it, you just come over here to delete that segment. And that just allows that branch segment to be more specific. Always make sure you hit save of the action as well as save at the top, because the last thing you want to do is ever lose a whole big workflow once you've had it all built out. The next thing we'll look at is the wait step. Now, this is really important. This is one that you're going to be using a lot. So you'll come right here. You have different delays. You have an appointment reminder. You have time delay. You can also even wait till a contact replies. You can wait for an email event. You can wait for a trigger link, a certain condition. It's not just wait for a certain amount of time. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about the wait step. You're going to use it a lot. So you can set it for just a time delay, like wait so many minutes or whatever. But if you have an actual appointment set, you can be like, hey, I wanted to go off so much before or after or the exact time of the appointment. And this stage right here is really important. And then you got the bottom, if the time has passed, they'll move to next step or specific step. That's a little more advanced, but that's a cool thing you want to really just look at is Is it overdue by before a certain amount or after a certain amount? So this is great for like invoices and different stuff like that. So you could have a lot of these. I'll be like, hey, did they pay? No. Okay, well, I'll wait a couple days. I'll send an email and then I'll check. Did they still pay or what? So you can use this as an overdue. There's so much different stuff you can do. But the wait step is one of the steps you're going to be using a lot. So you can see like here, email event. I don't have an email, but it'd be like opened or clicked or whatever, or read or replied to it. That's another big one. A lot of times you're going to want to use a reply wait step because you'll be doing a chat action back and forth, and you want to wait till they reply to that before, so they know, did they reply yes? Did they? And that could be one of the things you could say as condition. Did they reply yes or no, or whatever words you're looking for? Maybe they replied AI, and now you want them to go down a certain path or whatever it is. So you can do all that with conditions. There's so much in wait steps, but those are your actions. Let's go down here, go back to the main ones we were just looking at. So another one that's great is your go-to wait step. That one's really easy. All you do is you click it, you hit save, and then all you're going to do, these would normally, everything above it would be lit. There's not a lot, but since it is, you're just going to show you, and you just click on it and it just goes right to it. If you want to break it, you just hit at the bottom there. That one's one that you'll be using a lot. And then, like I said, you've got your event goals, your split. If you want to have it so that it splits them off, you can um, do a certain percentage to go down one path or another, etc. You can update a custom value. That one's going to happen a lot where you'll do something. You might do a math. You'll see here in just a second equation, and you want to update a value. Remember, values are system, fields are contact level. Then you've got a event or date formatter. It might be coming into the system in one, and you want to pump it out in a different one that's easier for clients to read. You can format dates. You can format numbers. You can do math operations. You can set this one I use a lot. If I have a specific date that I want the workflow to be going off of, you set this as the first thing in the workflow. Hey, this date, this time, and then you're able to use everything below that workflow to trigger off that date time. You can add to workflows, remove. You can do array functions and custom coding. These guys are amazing. You can test format, or you can do drip sequence. So if you want so many to go out over so much time, and then this is one of the AI workflows we'll be going over tomorrow, the Chat GPT one, along with these ELIZA booking bots. Then you also have the ability down here to update a customer status or for their appointment. So maybe they were a no-show, you had as a trigger, and now you're updating the status to no-show or something. Or you're generating, this one's brand new, a one-time booking link, which is really cool. You can use that. Your opportunities, you can create or update or remove your opportunities. You got all your payments, one-time Stripe charge. So that's your upsell. So think about it. How people are like, well, how do I do an upsell? Well, you'll make it so they'll click the button. When they click the button, they start that causes a workflow to go off, and you charge them once for that. You can do it that way. There's all different types of way. Send invoice, send estimate, send contract or documents. I mean, this is like so much cool stuff. You've got all your marketing. You've got Google Analytics, add to Google AdWords, add to custom audiences. I mean, think about that. You can have contacts go through there, and now you're adding them to a custom audience to be used for later to remarket to and ads. How cool is that? Conversion API, remove from custom audience. You've got all your affiliate stuff. You can add them to manager, update your affiliate, add them to a campaign. You can add a lead underneath an affiliate. You can add sales, all your different stuff for your courses. You can grant or remove an offer. Here's all your IVR stuff where you can gather what their information is that they're saying on the call. You can play messages. You can end the call. You can have a voicemail. I mean, here's all your different community stuff you can do. You can even grant group leadership points off of different stuff. You can issue a certificate, and then below it would, of course, be all your different actions. So one of the things I'm going to be doing now from this point on is every video I'm going to be teaching, I'm going to do the workflow at the end of it. So for instance, courses, I'm going to show you all the course workflows. If it's, whatever it is, like for instance, we got coming up here, emails. So emails, I'm going to show you all those. After I show you how to build out all the emails and everything like that, then I'm going to show you workflows that relate to them and ideas you have that you might not be thinking of that are important email workflows to have no matter what, for like bases and stuff like that. So you always want to stay at the end of the video to be able to see the workflows. And like I said, tomorrow, AI workflows, don't miss it. So that's pretty much it. We're going to go over for workflows for day. Over in the builder, it's got all of its stuff. If I want to add anything, this does count as one of your actions. So if I'm like, hey, I want to add this contact tag, you'll see there it shows where we're at, and all I do is click right here, and now I've got it. And now I can just come in and I can add this tag right there and save action. But you see, it did count as it. So then I'm going to be like, oh, I want to send an SMS, and you'll see how these are blinking, shows you wherever you could add the SMS, and then you come in and add your SMS. You have availability to do templates or your snippets, and then here's, like I said, inside your actual messages. Let's go to email real quick because this is one that you guys will all be using at one point or another. Email probably. First thing you've got is your name of it. Again, name what type of email. Is it a welcome email? Is it a product delivery? Is it a hey, you owe me money email? Whatever it is. And now you got your from name. Now, mind you, you can use your custom variables and custom fields and custom values. So I can come right here and I could pick account and I can put email, and now we'll always fill out the email account, whatever one you have listed on your account settings. Would show up here. Or you can remember I showed you in the settings, you could set it there, and now you don't have to set it every email. If you got 20 emails in here, having to do this from name in the email every time. So sorry, this is the name. So you'd actually want to have this as your name, not your silly pants. So you come in and put your name, and then you put your account email on this one. Sorry, I misread that email. Or you could type it. You could come in your from name. A lot of times I'll put as the funnel doc or something like that. Or maybe you have a custom variable that you have what you want your from name to be. That's the great thing. You can, like I said, all these are fields, but if you got a contact or a custom value, you can come in and then pick that and fill that in. So you've got there, you've got your subject line. Again, anytime you see this tag, you can use contact fields or custom values with that. Then your subject line, you'll see that that is a must. You've always got to have that. If you do have different templates, you could come in here and pull that template in. One of the cool thing is, let's say we're using this review template, I can now come in and edit that template. So before I wasn't really big on templates because I'm not much of a high design guy for emails. I find that emails tend to convert better when they're not as pretty. So you can have some images, but all this like super design time that's spent on emails a lot of time is for naught. It's not really that helpful in my experience. But because of that, and it was harder to do, I was never really one to use it. But now you can edit them right here. You weren't able to do that before, so now I'm starting to use more templates. Still not high design, but having them here, it just is base, so it just saves time. If nothing else, it saves time. Because think about it, even if this is just your base template with your like logo and your footer on it, and it's just like, hey, you can type whatever you want. Well, now I can at least come in and I can use the email builder, which gives me so much more flexibility versus you've got all these different elements. You've got your ability to still your appearance, all that stuff. So you can either resave it as a template, whatever, and you have so much you can do versus if I just add an email, like let's see, if I decide that I don't want to use this, this is what I'm working with, which is fine. And this is what I've always used before. There's a lot of stuff, huge menu. Again, you've got your custom values here and your trigger links. Trigger links are another video we just finished last week or yesterday. But trigger links are great. I use them all the time. Highly recommend you learn about them. You got the ability to undo. All that type of stuff is in here, just not as much as you can do in the email builder. And then something else I'd always recommend is sending yourself a test email. You can also add attachments. Your attachments can be anything, PDFs. It could be a video. It could be any type of file that can be attached. Something can be attached to these emails. I'm not sure on the video size. I know it can be pretty big. I think I attached like a 30-minute video one, so it can be pretty big. Always send your test emails, test all your links, test everything out. You can't test enough. It is the key to being successful. Again, always make sure you hit save when you're done or as you're going along as well. You've also got your ability to see where stuff is over here to your bottom left. So if you ever want to use this, you have a giant workflow. This will come in handy. And that's pretty much it. Always make sure your workflows are published or they won't work. And that's it for today. I will see you in tomorrow's video when we talk about AI and all the different workflows involved with that. I'm going to build it out. It'll be a long one. We're going to go deep. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And with that, I am out of here. Peace. Funnel Doc out.